When working with variables, Python will assign the appropriate data type automatically to the created variable based on the value given to it. Therefore, if you have a variable apples equals to 6, this will be an integer variable. If you have apples equals to 6.0, this will be a float variable. And if you have apples equals to double quote 6 double quote, this will be a string variable. But sometimes we might want to convert between data types. For example, if I have apples 6, I have 6 apples. But let's say I ate half of one of them. So my current number of apples would be 5.5, right? I could print this. I have 5 apples and a half. But what if I wanted to print a message just showing how many whole apples I have? So I would need to convert this float variable to an integer. And I could do it this way. Whole apples. I could do this, int, parentheses, apples. And now if I print apples, I'm just going to type the name of the variable here. It's still a float, 5.5. But if I print whole apples, it's just 5, is an integer. Because I converted from float to int. And doing that will drop the decimal part of the float and just give us the integer part. All right, cool. But what if instead of just printing the number, I wanted to also include a nice message saying I have this many apples? Well, the first thing I need to do is to create a string version of my integer variable. So in order to do that, I could do string apples equals str, this means strings, whole apples. And now by doing this conversion, I have a string version of my apples. And you can verify that by just printing this to the console. And notice how my 5 now has the single quotes here representing a string. Pay special attention to this, as this 5 and this 5 are not the same. This is an integer, and this is a string or text representing the same number, but different data types. So keep that in mind, as is a very common cause of problems among new programmers. Awesome. So now we have the string version of the number of apples that we have. And then I could use string concatenation to print a very nice message. So I could do print quotes. I like double quotes more than single, but you feel free to use the one you like. I own, close this, plus, remember plus in this case is string concatenation, plus string apples. This will print the number of apples in string mode, plus whole apples, and then I close the string, enter, and I print this. I own 5 whole apples. So what I did here is I have one string literal plus the variable representing the number of strings as a string, plus another string literal saying whole apples. So those 3 strings together form the final string, I own 5 whole apples. Nice. Finally, let's apply these newly learned skills to our Minecraft teleportation. So we're gonna open the teleportation.py program that we created earlier, and let's rename it. So let's open the file first. And before we make any change, let's rename it. So save as teleportation with messages, save. Cool. So now let's make a few changes here. And what we're gonna do is simply, after we teleport, I'm gonna print a nice message saying where we are not. So I'm gonna create a new string here, player teleported to X, Y, Z equals. And pay attention here, this will get confusing. So here is my literal. Now I need to start concatenating the actual values. So the first one is X, so plus, and be careful here, X, Y, and Z contain integer values. Let's do it first without the conversion to see the error message we will get. So X plus, now another string literal, just representing the comma, then plus the next variable, Y, plus another string literal representing the comma, plus Z, plus another string, plus here, another string literal representing the parentheses, and then that's it, and then we close the post to chat. Okay, so as I said, this will cause some problem. Let's see it. I will run this, remember run module, or just press S5, and this will give me the following error. Can only concatenate str strings, not integers to strings. Okay, so the error is super clear. What happened here is that X, Y, and Z are integers, and you're trying to combine strings and integers together, and you cannot do that. So to fix this problem, we're gonna convert those integers to strings before we can concatenate them. Okay, str and str. Okay, let's try again. Run the module, and now see player teleported to X, Y, and Z equals 2, and the coordinates. Okay, feel free to change those values. Play around. So let's go back to the script. Let's maximize this. Let's try different numbers. Whatever you guys want. Just don't use negative for Y, or you will end up underground. Let's make this one negative. And let's use a positive one here. Okay. Let's save this. Run it again, and I will jump to a different place. Just make sure to try this when it's not dark, so you can see the difference. But for now, all you need to care is that we have been moving to a different place over and over. Okay, let's try one more. I'm just going to use a very small value here. I run it again, and I'm once again jumping to a different location. Things to keep in mind, I could have created another variable here, call it message equals this whole thing, and print the value of that variable message here. Just going to change these numbers one more time, and run it, and then see it teleport me to that new location. All right, so this is it. Remember, try this when it's daytime in Minecraft so you can actually see the result more clearly. All right, and this is it. You just learned how to convert between data types using Python.